Hey, truth seekers, welcome back. Zach here. The point of this video is to understand that nationwide, city police departments are participating in sponsored hoaxes by the government and media for the sake of agenda. It has to do with gun control, it has to do with gun sales, it has to do with militarizing police and further building the police military state that we call the United States of America. It's 2016 and too many people don't realize what kind of nation they live in. They don't realize what kind of media they have. They don't recognize who their police officers really are. I have been showing with definitive proof for 3 years that all of these police-related shootings, mass shootings in the mainstream media are propaganda. They are drills run by police, city and federal government, reported as tragedies for the sake of agenda. Police, media, government participating in drills, duping the masses. For people who are new here, what I am exposing truly is crazy. It's not because I'm crazy, it's because the people who rule over us are crazy, and I am showing you the things they practice. And these things they practice, such as numerology, the science, the understanding of numbers, gematria, the practice of encoding words with numbers. These are things that are important to the people who are responsible. The people who have always run this nation have always been Freemasons, and they've always been Jewish bankers. And they are very much into these practices of numerology, gematria. Look up what Kabbalah is, Jewish mysticism and numbers. A lot of this comes back to Kabbalah. So anyway, in all of these hoaxes, they code the number 33. Notice this says 3 killed, 12 wounded. It's the LAPD reporting, a police department. 33 is the number of Freemason obsession, and police are run by Freemasonry nationwide, worldwide. This is more than the United States. The Freemasons who started this nation came over from Europe. They were also colonizing other parts of the world at the same time. The New World Order, the Illuminati, it is a Freemasonic international world order. Largely goes back to the banks. So 3 killed, 12 wounded, 12 in numerology is 1 plus 2 equals 3. So this reads as 3 and 3 in numerology. 33 is the number of false flag. Show you this in gematria. English reductions where you compress each letter of the alphabet to a single digit, then add. F is 6, A is 1, L's the 12th letter, 1 plus 2 is 3. S is the 19th letter, 1 plus 9 is 10. S is special, it can be worth 10 or 1. It's because it's the only letter you have to compress twice. 1 plus 9 for 19 is 10. 1 plus 0 for 10 is 1. No other letter do you have to add 2 times to get to a single digit. So this calculator always makes S worth 1. If you make S worth 10, false flag is 42. And it's the Freemasons who do this to us. The Freemasons pride themselves on being the invisible architects of society. 42, 33, very important numbers to Freemasonry. Very important numbers to 9/11, one of those drills. Remember, FEMA showed up in New York City? They said there were 20,000 FEMA agents in New York City the day before September 11th for a major drill. Yeah, buildings came down that day. Yeah, people died. Yeah, people got hurt. People were devastated. But it was all planned. You see, it was part of an exercise that was sold as, radical Islamic boogeymen who practiced in a cave in Afghanistan came over and did this to you. Not at all. Go watch the videos of how those buildings disintegrate as they fall through the air. What causes a building to disintegrate? We've never been told the truth about 9/11. Look up the definition of ground zero. Before September 11th, that was where a nuclear device detonated above or below ground. That was the definition of ground zero. For over 4 decades, this nation had an underground nuclear weapons testing program. 93 World Trade Center bombings. The bombs went down. For months, they did a lot of work under the towers. Anyway, back to the shooting. Here's what you need to know. 33. 3 killed, 12 wounded, breaks down to 3 and 3. We're going to talk about the street this happened on, 33 name plus more. LAPD's 33, police is 33, as we covered false flag. is 33. Think about the Rodney King beating on March 3rd, 3-3. See my work on Rodney King. There's a lot to it. Masonry and secrecy, 33. Freemasonry, the international secret society, a lot of people in high places connected. Whenever the media emphasizes a phrase like a bloody scene, they want that visual in people's minds, but whenever they emphasize there's coded gematria, a bloody scene sums to 48, like propaganda, like hoax, which this no doubt was. They didn't release the names of the shooter or the victims. So they said this took place at a restaurant. In the history of mass shootings in this nation, go back and see the ones from the 80s, the McDonald's massacre, San Ysidro, and then the Lubies. Trying to think of the name of the town it happened in Texas. Killeen, Texas. Killeen, Texas. Anyway, restaurant has this gematria of 137, the 33rd prime number, and this is why they like to do this. Last year, after Black Friday, there was the Colorado shooting, and CNN put out this big story. It was like a 10-minute video on how police do drills all throughout the nation. They do them in restaurants, movie theaters, malls, schools. As they named all the places, they were saying the police do these live drills, sometimes even doing them when people are in public or there to surprise for the sake of preparation. Anyhow, they made that video right after the Colorado shooting that I'm pretty sure happened on Black Friday, if my memory serves me. I did a video on the video CNN put out showing how the police were talking about how they participate in these drills, where they make people think it's live to create the scenario. This is what they're doing nationwide, and sometimes they're turning them into big news stories. So anyway, 137, the 33rd prime. Again, LAPD 33. This is the 33 LAPD reporting, and with a lot of 33 in this incident. Got my tongue twisted. Restaurant in Pythagorean gematria sums to 38. Just show you this real quick. This is the difference here. Pythagorean gematria are English reductions where you make each letter a single digit. English ordinal, or simple English gematria, is where you just use the alphabetic order. So R's 18 plus E5 plus 19 for S plus T for 20. This is actually an easier method to learn. If you add it in your head, it's harder because it's bigger numbers. But the thing is, what I recommend all of you try to do is just practice and not use the calculator, or if you do use the calculator, still do the numbers in your head. And to help you, you can click this breakdown box, and it'll even show you the letter sequence. The reason I recommend learning this and being able to do it in your head is because if you do, and you really can do this. When I first started, I thought it was impossible. It was my goal when I started to see if I could do it all in my head and just learn to memorize it all. When I first started, it seemed impossible. But after about a month of practicing, I had it. And what's cool about this is you'll notice so many things in real time. You'll notice a sports player's jersey come up, you do their name real quick, and you notice their name's the same as their number more often than not. It's truly fascinating. So anyway, these are the difference in the methods. And for those of you who follow, I'm just trying to teach more in some of these videos because I'm getting so many new people here and they're asking how to gematria, and they won't go in my description ever where I have my how to gematria video. So I'm just trying to teach people as we go along. 38, though, it's a number connected to death and killing. Death equals 38, killing 38. Just did a video on the death of Tommy Ford. Dead 38 days from his birthday on a date with 38 numerology. Just found out he was a 33rd degree Master Mason. I'm going to do a follow-up video on the Martin TV series, 38, what was projected in that series in a May 2nd episode. But anyway, 38, number always around death and killing. Masonic 38, Jewish 38. So here's the reporting. A gun battle at a restaurant in the West Adams district left 3 people dead and 12 others wounded early Saturday. That was yesterday, October 15th. In Jewish gematria, killing sums to 115. Think about 10/15. Lose that 0, it's 115. Looser connection. 10 plus 15 also equals 25, like massacre, like Jamaican. They're saying this is a Jamaican restaurant. Anyhow, it's a bloody scene with shell casings everywhere, LAPD Sergeant Frank Pisadio said. There were about 50 people inside. Keep in mind, they just had a funeral procession of 50 miles in St. Louis, Missouri. We're going to talk about that. The biggest procession since the Civil War in the state of Missouri. Missouri equals 42 like Freemason. Anyway, 50 Mile, and then this story comes just right after that, and they mention 50 people inside. America equals 50. This is propaganda for the 50 states. West Adams in gematria sums to 24 on the calculator. If you do your S exceptions, which is plus 9 more for each S, 24 plus 9 is 33, plus 9 more is 42. 42 is our Freemason number. This has to do with a shooting. Guns 42. Guns a big focus in all of these shootings. Some are racially divisive, you know. Some are police versus young unarmed black man narrative. All the stuff they've been feeding us for years at a quickening rate. Anyhow, this name Frank Presadio has gematria of 67. If you've been missing my work on the Blue Lives Matter agenda, that's what all of these drills are going towards, to militarize police. It's called Blue Lives Matter, which has gematria of 67. It's a bill that a lot of governors are looking at. The first state to sign it was Louisiana on a date with 67 numerology. It was also the 147th day of the year in 2016. Police and Jewish gematria is 147. We saw the Alton Sterling and Philando Castile stories sync up with that, and then the next day, the retaliatory shooting at the Black Lives Matter protest in Dallas. All by the numbers, videos on all of it. All of this stuff follows the same pattern. So 67, this number we keep seeing show up in these police-related shootings. This is a shooting being reported by police. Los Angeles, home of the 44-minute shooting. We'll be talking more about 44. The word shooting equals 44, that Bank of America standoff. The only people who got killed in that entire standoff, the two shooters supposedly, when those guys supposedly fired off thousands of rounds over 44 minutes. It's because all they were firing was blanks. It was a big movie scene for TV. Look at the Bank of America logo, the American flag made out of 3 11s. 11 plus 11 plus 11 is 33. Bankers 33. Bank accounts 33. And again, it's bankers running this all. So LA, if you've never seen that 44-minute shooting, they made a movie about it. I got a lot of blog posts on it. It's coded to the T. Anyhow, this officer's name, gematria of 67, like Blue Lives Matter, like Freemasonry. If you put the sergeant in front of his name, sums to 77, like police officer, like police department. The July 7th shooting, the 7/7 shooting, the largest loss of life for a police department at the Black Lives Matter protest that was over the shooting hoaxes in the news the day before, one of which was in Louisiana where the Blue Lives Matter bill was signed. Anyhow, the next day, 7/7, the retaliatory shooting. The Blue Lives Matter bill signed by the Louisiana governor said that Black Lives Matter was the biggest threat to police. Next day, 7/7, police officer, police department, Sergeant Frank Presadio. Worst loss of life for a police department since September 11th. And I'll just show you this. September 11th, when written out in gematria, sums to 77. The 7/7 shooting in Dallas, show you something about Dallas. It's using the English alphabet. Dallas equals 49, the product of 7 times 7. The shooting was 49 days from the mayor's birthday. The police chief, who looked like L.A. Reid, his name equaled 49. So much more. Anyhow, September 11th, just for a quick note, Flight 77 on that date supposedly hit the 77-foot tall Pentagon on the American meridian, which is on the 77th meridian. They said it took off at 8:20 and crashed at 9:37. That's 77 minutes later. The man who wrote the project for a new American century, which called for a new Pearl Harbor for the new century, his name was Paul Wolfowitz. He was part of the Bush administration. He'd been working in the Pentagon since 77. Anyway, Sergeant Frank Presadio giving us the story, no doubt an agent, name for the part. We got all these people selling us out in high places. They're all installed there. It's all politics. It's all part of this crooked system we live under. This shooting happened on Rimpau Boulevard, Rimpau, 33, you know? Here it is right here, 2900 block of Rimpau. 2900, numerology is 2 plus 9 is 11. 11, the master number. Notice we're talking about 33, a multiple of 11. 3 11s. 11s. 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 11 Mass shooting in gematria sums to 51, like conspiracy, like Freemason with the S exception, and 78. 78 is interesting because Rimpow the Big Way is 78. This is a mass shooting, 3 dead, 12 injured, supposedly. That's 15 total people. And I'll just show you this real quick. 15 people involved, 3 dead, 12 injured. 15 sums to 38, just like killing and just like death in simple English. 15 people involved. They said the shooter shot from the driveway. Many people shot in the driveway of the restaurant. I doubt that's a coincidence. Driveway sums to 44. Like shooting, like officer, like kill. Like the 44-minute shooting in LA with the LAPD once upon a time, where somehow the officers didn't kill a single officer. So again, it was a date with 25 numerology, 10 plus 15. Jamaican massacre, 25. The mentions of 50. Notice here, they have this witness, Hamilton. They say Hamilton's 58. The word Freemasonry, I'll just show you this. Freemasonry is 58. With the S exception, it's 9 more, so it's 67. Secret Society, also 58. Very important number. These people have truly built this world around us. The calendar, all of this stuff is synced up. Our English language, we're on the Gregorian calendar system. United States with the S exceptions, 58. NASA began in 58. You know, the Freemasons are controlling information in this world. Science is 58, and I'm not saying science is a bad thing. The problem is science in this world is controlled by a gang that uses it against the people. You know, grand deception by the numbers, steering people with lies. Anyway, notice they say this person's 58, and they mention that as if it's important. I mean, why do we need to know that they're 58? Total chaos. The Freemasons believe in order out of chaos, and divide and conquer. And chaos, one of these words with 46, we often find 46 coded in these stories. Very common. The word order, though, another one of those 33 words. And this is a federal agenda we're living under. Federal, a 33 word. Total chaos. What they believe in. Order out of chaos. The Freemasons, 58. All of this is coded propaganda, mocking us. They didn't release the names of the dead or the injured. They said it happened at about 12:30. About 12:30. Two things that are interesting about that. The word conspiracy equals 123 the big way, 51 the small way. Think about Area 51. Think about all these mass shootings in the media, 51. We just had one up here in Washington State that was by the numbers. Big hoax, tribute to the upcoming Macy's Day Parade on Thanksgiving in Burlington. Came exactly 33 days after the Burlington Freemason Lodge anniversary. I went up there, got a video on it, lots of interesting information. 33, the Master Mason number. So anyway, let's jump to another story. October 13th, this past Thursday, a 50-mile funeral procession. Then that same day in the headlines, supposedly police officers getting killed in Boston, which we'll get to. So 50-mile funeral procession. This man was supposedly killed October 6th, 2016, a special date in numerology, the numbers of prophecy, which we often talk about. Missouri, where this is also one of these locations with the 42 gematria like Freemason. Remember, we had the Michael Brown shooting in Ferguson, Missouri. Michael, the victim. Darren, the name of the officer in Police 33. There's a museum in Chicago on 47th Street that has a plastic dummy of Michael Brown laying down on the ground. A lot of people think it's distasteful. It's supposed to be the Michael Brown crime scene. It's in Chicago, Illinois. The joke is the plastic dummy laying on the ground is Michael Brown. Michael Brown was a plastic dummy. The video's out there for all to see. After they left the body for no reason in the middle of the street in the middle of the summer with police standing there armed with just a small section taped off in yellow, at the very end of the day, when they picked up the body, they quickly picked it up, police officers, not paramedics, and they loaded it into the back of a police SUV. When have you ever seen a body loaded into a police SUV and not a paramedic, you know? That's what they did with Michael Brown's body. It's because it was a dummy. And it's because it was a story meant to divide, create chaos. They got the contrived riots. These are the people selling us out. I have videos from Michael Brown all the way up to the present. You know, Trayvon Martin, what were his initials? TM, his father was a master mason. TM, like trademark, those initials, 33, T the 20th, M the 13th. Who was his killer? GZ, George Zimmerman. Father, 33rd degree master mason. Is there even really a Trayvon Martin? You know, George Zimmerman appears to be this made-for-TV character who just gets in trouble every single year. They got to run a new George Zimmerman story every 6 months or so. Who was he pointing his gun at lately, you know? How many people go through that many things and stay out of jail, stay out of prison? It's just a joke. It's just meant to piss people off. You know, the people who believe the news, think about what they think. The boy he killed is dead, and here he is, you know, causing more terror in people's life, and he keeps getting out. Because people don't see how they're getting played by the TV. So anyway, this officer that died, they say his name was Blake Snyder, and they say he was 33 years old. Blake Snyder, right? Blake Snyder, 44, shooting 44, officer 44, military 44, kill 44. In the last story, it was the driveway where the majority of the people were killed. So many people in history have been killed by the number 44. I cover many famous deaths on this video channel. Search my name plus whoever you're thinking of. Probably got a video on him. And there's probably a 44 right in the middle of the story. So he was 33. Again, that's the number of the Masons. Order 33, Federal 33. If this guy really died, he was a ritual sacrifice by his own police department. You know? This man's really dead. He was killed for working for this gang. This gang doesn't respect people. They use people. St. Louis, Missouri, where this happened, has the gematria of 67. You know, just talked about it. I should mention that the phrase blood sacrifice sums to 67. In February of this year, after Vanity died by the numbers, I said Prince better watch out, and I talked about his connection to Vanity and the number 67. Prince died a span of 67 days from Vanity. And I saw it coming because I understand how these crazy Freemasons are operating. And I suspect that Prince was part of the Masonic network. There's a lot of people who are in it that we don't know about. A lot of entertainers in Freemasonry because the gang that runs the world, that runs entertainment, they're all about this Freemasonry. Again, here's the date of the Blue Lives Matter bill. Date was 67 numerology. Blue Lives Matter has the 67 gematria like Freemasonry with the S exception. The date that bill was signed was also a date with 47 numerology, authority 47, obey 47, judge 47, gavel 47, special number. Authority is 137, the big way. So is Washington, D.C., 137, the 33rd prime, headquarters of the federal government, the supreme authority of the land. The day he died was October 6th, a date that gets written 10/6 in the U.S., a lot like the number 106. Prophecy equals 52, the small way, 106, the big way. It was a date with 52 numerology. It was also a date with 25. We saw how 25 connected to the Los Angeles shooting. Anyway, prophecy and the word procession have gematria of 52. I think that's interesting because this is the biggest procession in Missouri since the Civil War. Died on a date with 16 numerology. There's a major agenda going on this year. The shootings, they've never been more quick. Been bombarded with them. The date of the procession, it was also a date with 59 numerology. Kill in Jewish gematria equals 59. They buried him in Godfrey, gematria 44, like Blake Snyder, like officer. I just noticed up here in the address, I mean, sometimes this stuff could be a coincidence, but I just like to document. There's a lot of numbers that I don't know the meaning of. You know, Aleister Crowley, who wrote about gematria and numerology, he writes out all these crazy number codes and says they have all this meaning. There's so much more to this knowledge than what I'm teaching you. I'm giving you a really good concrete step, more clear than you can find anywhere else, and how to use this efficiently. But there's way more to know. You know, there's so much more to this knowledge that I have no idea about, you know. So just to clue you guys in, there's all sorts of numbers that have meaning where I don't know what the meaning is from my study yet, you know? I haven't come across the right sources to understand. When I read Aleister Crowley, it doesn't make sense in my mind. I don't have the occult background, you know? I don't know so much esoteric knowledge. I'm like most US citizens. I grew up in public schools. I've been living in the system. But anyway, St. Louis, Missouri 238, something like that address up there, could be a meaning to that number that I don't know yet. You know, the more we figure out, the more we'll understand. I like that they released 33 doves, you know. He was 33 years old. When doves cry, Prince talked about living by prophecy, the prophecy code. This is the same day they opened up his house as a museum. Been showing all year the prophecy code, how Prince said all we could live by are the numbers of prophecy. And then they open up his house as a museum on Prophecy Day. So this same day as the funeral procession, 2 Boston cops supposedly shot and the gunman killed. Well, this happened late the evening before. Excuse me. It was the news the day of the funeral procession. It happened late the night before. So it happened on a date with 58 numerology, Blue Lives Matter, Freemasonry 58, also 67 with the S exceptions. And a date with 38 numerology. Death 38, killing 38. We explain the significance. Here's the gematria Blue Lives Matter. With the S exception, it's 67 again. Just plus 9 more. This happened in Massachusetts. There's 3 states with 33 gematria. The first state, Delaware. The 50th and final state, Hawaii. And the 6th state, Massachusetts. The numerology of 33 is 3 plus 3 equals 6. So a 33 state. They've been doing a lot of racially divisive propaganda. Story comes in October, the only month with 33 gematria, just like the funeral, just like the shooting in LA. With regards to this date having 31 numerology, Boston sums to 22 and 31 with the S exception. Here we are in Boston, right? Almost overlooked that. That's why it's good to double check this work. It's almost like doing your math. You always want to double check. There's simple things you might have missed. Notice what time they put out their tweet here, the Boston Police Department. 8:33. Gladstone sums to 34 Street 24. What's 34 plus 24? Gladstone Street. Or excuse me, I did a mistake here because Gladstone Street's 67 like Freemasonry. It's got the Freemasonry connection, but Gladstone's 43. And with the S exception, 52. Isn't that interesting? Just before the funeral procession. Makes me think of that Hollywood movie with Mark Wahlberg where all the officers get killed. They have a funeral procession in that, you know? Same people who run your movies, Freemasons, Zionist bankers, are the same people who run your news. That's why they give us so much predictive programming in movies. But you know, there it is, just another connection. Let's see what Gladstone is in simple English gematria. 115. Talked about how killing, 115 in Jewish gematria. Killing Street, 833 tweet. Look at what they say. At a morning news conference, Evans said the gunman identified as Kirk Figueroa, 33, opened fire on the officers responding to a report of a person with a gun around 11 p.m. Wednesday in East Boston. The word East Boston in Pythagorean gematria also sums to 31. With the S exceptions, it becomes 49. Hectic scene, chaos. That name Figaro, Gematria 46, just like chaos. Again, one of the numbers they love to code the most. Here it is again. Down here, they have this announcement. Boston Police Department. Shelter in place has been lifted. One suspect has been located. Scene is secure. Residents kindly asked to remain inside. They post that a minute before 9/11. Wonder if he posted too early, huh? Remember, there's a connection from 911 to 33. 911, 911 is the 156th prime number. If you write out 33 as a word, it sums to 156. If you write out February 2nd, it sums to 156. That's the 33rd day of the year, February 2nd, Groundhog's Day. But anyway, 911, 156, 33. 33 years before 9/11, 2001. 1968, World Trade Center construction began in New York in August. 911 was made the national emergency dialing code, and George W. Bush graduated from Yale and Skull and Bones. He was part of the Masonic Order. We called him George W. Bush. There's a reason. Again, it's Freemasonry running this nation. The son of a former president. Anyway, all of that 33 years before September 11th, which was a major false flag. Remember false flags 33? George W. Bush was a bonesman 33. His birthday is July 6, 1946, born in the right year for chaos. And that's a date with 33 numerology. From his date of birth to September 11th is a span of 68 days, like the year all that stuff happened. Space Odyssey in Gematria sums to 156, just like 33. Space Odyssey 2001 came out in 1968, the same year, 33 years before 2001. 33, Space Odyssey 156, 33 years earlier. You get it? Space Odyssey 2001 and 68. Should make sense. Look at this. February 2nd, the 33rd day of the year. A lot of important things come back to this. Masonic motto, what the Seal of Solomon, the Star of David represents, two three-sided figures. Special number. The firm that built the World Trade Centers, their name in Gematria sums to 156. Also, 111. September 11th is the day that leaves 111 days left in the year. The World Trade Centers in New York, 111. Anyway, funny this comes a minute before 9/11. Then down here, hours earlier, police officials honored the department's first Hispanic officer killed in the line of duty, Jose Maceira. They announced Maceira, who was shot in 1974 and died in 1977. 74, Masonic 74, Jewish 74, occult 74, special number to this nation. The World Trade Centers were on the 74th meridian. But anyway, died in 77. Isn't that interesting? Died 3 years later, that year relevant to police. So they're making this memorial for him. His name in Gematria has these connections to the number 13. 13 special to Freemasonry as well. The date of this announcement was also a date with 13 numerology. You know, something to it. There's always more to understand, but I'm just trying to clue you into the patterns and basic knowledge that you can share with people that you can use, because we as a people need to see through what's being done to us. You know, we're being lied to by the people that we pay for. All of us work and pay a lot of taxes, and this is what it goes to. Things like the police that sell us out for agenda. More money for police, more money for military, less money for everything else. That's the direction our society takes us. For how much longer? Until next time.